Hello everybody, now is tutorial number 22. So in this tutorial we are going to track all the traffic incidents on the Kivy map view, Kivy garden map view, and then as you click on this icon, it's going to pop up MD dialog or pop-up menu to show you the details of the incidents on the road. So for this we are actually going to use LTA Datamall section 2.19, and there are actually several types of incidents that can happen, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 different types. Okay, so we are going to have 10 different icons for these 10 different incident types, and then we are going to based on the longitude and latitude information, display it on the map view, and then we are going to display the message as well. And so remember in the last tutorial we actually finish up all the MRT screens like MRT ORT, map view, service alert, tram map, and then the fare. And in this tutorial we are going to come to the traffic page, which if you click it, it's going to crash because we haven't created any traffic page. So let's say I click it now, it's going to crash because we haven't created any of the traffic page yet or screen yet. So without further ado, let's go to the step 1. So as mentioned, we are going to use the data from LTA Datamall section 2.1, which is the traffic incidents. Okay, and then this is the URL which you can send and get request. If you use Postman, this is the URL when you send and get request. This is the kind of information that you will get. Under the key value, you are going to get a list of incidents that can happen on the road. So now it's around 9:30 p.m. at the night, and therefore not a lot of incidents or so-called roadwork or road opening are being carried out. For the moment, there are only 4 of them. Might not be a good time to show you how to have all this on the map view, because later we might be searching around for the position of all these marker on the entire map view. But let's try it. The next step that we want to do is to add the incident screen class. So let's copy this and then go to our script and move all the way up as usual. Create a new class for the incident screen, and then in the main.kv, this is where we want to have our include of the kv file. So later we are going to create this incident screen.kv inside our kv folder. Save it, and then as usual, create a incident screen under the screen manager. There you go. So now we can go to kv folder and then create a file called incident screen.kv. Create, and then inside this incidents screen.kv, this is what we are going to have. So we will have a float layout, and then in the float layout we are going to have a grid layout. This grid layout is going to be this one. Tutorial 22. It's going to be this big map view. Okay, it's going to take up 79.5% of the screen, and then the ID is going to be Incident Mapview. So we need to include Incidents Mapview.kv here, so that later we can display our map view here. Otherwise, you're going to have an error later. So this grid layout is going to be our bottom navigation. Okay, so we have a back button, incidents button, roadworks button, and then traffic image label button, and also the road opening buttons. So in the next 3 tutorials, we are going to cover these 3: roadworks, traffic images, and road opening. For this tutorial, we are just going to cover the incident screen. Okay. So I think I don't have to explain this label button again, because we have did so many times in the previous tutorial. So as usual, later we are going to refer to this ID, and then we are going to add our map view here to this grid layout. So if you remove this for the moment, just for the sake of showing you the screen, if you run it, okay, and if you click on traffic, boom, now we have a new incident screen which is blank, and then we are going to create our map view, and then we are going to add it here. So let's bring incident screen. Okay, let's bring the map view inclusion back. Okay, and then back to our main.py. So the next step that we want to do is that under the change screen function, we want to say if the screen name is equal to incident screen, then we want to do something. So first we want to change the title of the screen to traffic incidents, okay, which is this one. Then we want to refer to the incident screen.id.incidence mapview, okay, assign it to a variable. So we check if this incidence mapview, we check here if there is any incidence mapview or not. Okay, if there is any incidence mapview class, we will remove it, and then we will create a new one, incidence mapview. We will instantiate the class, and then we will add it to the incident screen. Okay, then we will ask our map view to center on the current latitude and longitude as usual. Okay, so we haven't actually created a map view, which is the next thing that we want to do. For that, as usual, we need to create an incidents folder. So first, let's create an incidence mapview object property on the top here. Okay, then let's create an incidents folder to put everything that is related to incidence mapview. So let's create a folder, incidents folder, and then in the incidents folder, this is what you need to create, incidents mapview.py. Cool. And then let's copy this. Save it. Okay, before I explain about this, let's also create an incidents mapview.kivy. And then let's copy this and paste it here. So what is going to happen here is that we create our map view, and the zoom is going to be 13. When you double tap, it's going to zoom in further. So the maximum zoom is going to be 13. If you have zoom less than 13, it will bring you back to 13. Self.zoom, this one. Okay, and on let and on long, as the map view is being created, or as the user change the latitude and longitude, is going to call this function, start getting incidents in field of view in this incidents mapview.py. So this function will be called. So so as the user stay on the map view, as he or she navigate around, and then if they stay on the map view for 1 second or more, this clock is going to call this function. So what this function is going to do, so this function is going to do a request to our traffic incidents URL, send a request to this URL, and our URL is going to be the best URL plus the path, and then we are going to JSON.load our response content. Okay, the response will look something like this, same as the postmint. So for each incident in our response, for each of these, okay, we are going to check if their longitude is going to within our min and max longitude of the screen. So we use the self.getBbox to get the minimum and maximum latitude and longitude of the screen. and we will check if these incidents are within that screen or not. So if that is the case, right, we say that description is going to be the incident type plus the latitude and longitude. The purpose of doing this is to make sure that we don't display the same incidents again and again. So we need to keep track of the incidents here. Okay, so if the description is in cell.incidence description, okay, here we define this is an array. So if we already have that description, we will continue. We will not add the incident to the map view. If not, then we will add incidents to the map view. So this add incident function is going to add these incidents to the map view. So we have so many different class. You can ignore this command because I just copy paste from somewhere else. So I'm going to remove this. Okay. So yeah. So we're gonna take the latitude and longitude for the incidents that is being passed here, and we will check if the type of what type of incidence is it. Based on the type of incidence, we will use different type of marker class. Later on we will have a incidence marker.py to have all these class inside of it. The difference of all these classes is just that the source of image that they are using will be different, so that when you display them, all of these incidents on the map view, you know, by looking at the icon, you know that okay, this is a accident, this is a vehicle breakdown, this is a road work. So we want to use different image source for different marker class. Okay, so marker is equal to incidence marker accident. We pass the latitude longitude, and then marker.incident data incidence accident. So this one is going to be the variable to store the data, including message, latitude, longitude, and type. So we are going to send this to the pop-up menu. Okay. So yeah, else if roadwork, vehicle breakdown. So each of them are using different class. You can see, and then eventually we want to keep track of the description, and then we use the self.incident description to append it. Excuse me. And as mentioned, the reason of doing this is to make sure that we keep track of the marker that is already added to the screen, and we don't want to repeat and repeat again. Okay. So the next thing that we want to do is to create incidence marker.py, and let's copy this. So you can see here we actually have 10 different classes. Each of these classes, the script are actually the same. The only difference is the source of the image. So you can go to icons folder and look for this image. So for example, accident is going to look like this, and then what else? Heavy traffic is going to look like this. Okay. So we have obstacle is going to look like this. So we have different icons for different incidents type. Okay, that is the reason why we want to have different class. Okay. So on release of this marker, right, we are going to call a pop-up menu. You only have one type of pop-up menu for all different marker, and then we are going to pass the data to this pop-up menu. So of course for the next we want to create this pop-up menu.py, and we are going to copy this. So this pop-up menu is going to oops, we haven't saved this. This pop-up menu is going to set attribute the header with the value that we pass here from the marker, and then we are going to pass it to the incidence MD dialog. inside the kivymd.uix.dialog. So kivymd.uix.dialog. Here we are going to have our incidents class to store the attribute value that is being passed from the pop-up menu. So we have our value being passed to here. Now we store them in the variable, and then as we build load string, right, we can refer our MD list can actually refer the value by root.type, root.latitude, root.longitude, and root.message. So this is going to be the string to create our MD dialog. Okay. So if you're using my version of KivyMD, you already have this in your KivyMD. You don't have to do it again. Okay, this one you already have it. So of course we need to import the Mapview class to the main.py so that you are able to use it. So let's say we put it here. Wow, let's group this together. Okay. And then last but not least, as usual, we need to create incidents GPS helper.py inside the incidents folder. And let's copy all this. I guess by now you should be very familiar with GPS helper, because the whole reason for having GPS helper is to get the permission from your Android device or your iOS device. Once you get the permission from your GPS on your device, right, we will get the location of your device, and then it's going to call this function called update blinker position. So this one is going to update the position of your blinker, and then it's going to update the position of your map view. So your map view will actually center on your GPS location, and it's also going to update the current latitude and longitude on the main.py. And if you didn't turn on your GPS, it's going to pop up a dialog, MD dialog, to tell you that you need to enable GPS access for the app to function properly. Okay. So lastly, just go to your change screen function, and then we want to import the GPS helper when you are at the change screen, when you are in the incident screen, and then we will call the incidents GPS helper to run. Okay, and that's all. Let's run the script to make sure it works. Okay. Now let's click the traffic. Boom. Yeah, now we have one incident here. When you click it, vehicle breakdown. This is the latitude and longitude, and then this is the message. Vehicle breakdown on AYE towards MCE after Capel Road entrance. Avoid lane 3. Okay, so this is useful for the traffic user if they want to travel to somewhere that will pass through this road. They know that they will have to avoid it to avoid any traffic jam. So for example, here we also have roadwork. The other roadwork, you can see the latitude and longitude are different. They are not the same. Okay. So probably in the morning you will have more, because I think more roadwork are being carried out in the morning, and therefore in the morning when you run this app, you're going to have more incidents on the road. Now it's at 9:47 at night, and therefore we are not able to get a lot of data on this map view, but you know how it works, right? Yeah. So I hope this tutorial is a good presentation to you about how to make use of the incidents data for LTA Datamall, And the next tutorial we are going to look at roadwork. Roadwork is going to be data table. So this one is an interesting one because we have a big bunch of information under this roadwork, and then to display so much of data, we can actually make use of Kivy data table. And yeah, feel free to if you like the video, just help me to click the like button, share it to your friend, and subscribe to my channel. And also I want to remind that I have a Buy Me a Coffee page in which you can contribute to my channel if you like my video. And also remember to download the app from the Google Play Store, my SG Transport, so that you know what we are going to achieve at the end of the series. And I hope that's all for this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave your questions at the comment section of this tutorial, and I will try to answer as much as possible. Okay, thank you, and see you in the next one.